opprinnelig utdannet veterinær, men har jobbet nå i mange år med å utdanne innenfor hussignal og dels fjøsbygging og god økonomi, god agronomi, god dyrevelferd. Og han skal holde et lite innlegg for oss.
Thank you very much for letting me in your conference today. I'm very excited. I've got 3 questions for you to start with. Question number 1. Is it normal to drink milk from a lame cow? Is it normal to drink milk from a lame cow? Question number 2. Do you know how many cows are lame today? Lame means cripple, half. How many cows are lame today in Norway? And question number 3, I'd like to see a show of hands. Who of you really cares about animal welfare? Can I see a hand? Who of you really cares about animal welfare? Wow, that's really good. That's the majority. Okay, maybe one more question. Who of you is a farmer? Who is having her or his own cows or working on a dairy farm? Hands up. How many dairy farmers in the house? I have to really count. I see only 5, 6, 7. Okay, 10 people. Okay, I can see you guys, so I see everything that happens in the house, so I can also see if you fall asleep. Okay, well, it started actually when I was a young kid, 10 years old. My dad called me out to the sheep farm, and we were farming sheep that time in the Netherlands, and he asked me to help with the delivery. And then my mom was there, my dad, and I was sitting with my knees in the straw, and then I was standing up after doing delivery. Two lambs came out. I was standing up, and I had wet knees. I had 2 wet knees. And my mother, she saw it. And my mother said, wait a minute, this is not good. She was pointing to my dad. You have to put more straw in here, my dad said. And my mom said, put more straw in. My dad said, no, this is costing me money, and it's just enough. And they were both right. My dad was an agricultural economist, and my mother was a nurse. So they both were right. My dad studied in Wageningen, my mom was in the hospital. And they both were right. The difference between care for the animal and making money, there was always a big dilemma in most farmers' heads. And you see that in my family, it's from the mother and the father side. I have it both in. So I care about animals and also care about earning some money, because we have to earn money in the end. So then I went to vet school, met Jan Hulsen. And in vet school, I did 2 years of practice, and then I saw this cow here. And this cow is trying to tell me something. I walked past her after 2 years of practice, and I think, hey, what is she trying to tell me? And you know what she's trying to tell me? She said, help me. Help me. She needed help. And this cow is showing you 10 signals. So now you got 30 seconds to talk with your neighbor in the house. Tell each other what you see. What are the 3 most horrible signals on this cow? What are the 3 biggest bottlenecks on this cow? You got 30 seconds. You have to tell your neighbor now what you see. Okay, maybe here's something already seen over, but if you have any remarks from the house, I'd like to hear them right away. But if you look at this cow, probably some of you have seen this big danger triangle. It's the space behind the last rib, where you can actually see where the rumen is. And the rumen is empty. And this means that this cow didn't eat for 6 hours. She didn't eat for 6 hours because she has a very hollow rumen. And then the next question is why? The other thing you can see is actually a wound on the hock of the cow, a hock wound. You see the hock damage on the hocks here, and you see also some damage on the backbone here. So this cow is wounded. She's lame and wounded. And if you look more carefully, you also see that she has a very bad hair day. If you see the hair is dull, and she has hanging ears, and she has also deep eyes. And what she also shows you, the hanging ears, deep eyes, dull skin, the head is low. And if you look at all these signals, you can see the tail. The tail is also pulled in with tension. So this cow is not happy. And only after 2 years as a vet, I realized that something is not right here in this barn. And normally I don't see this cow as a patient. And I realized that this cow is really a big patient needing help. And that's why we decided to go for cow signals and to find the cause of the diseases. And if you look at this cow, the cause of the disease, have you seen the cause of this trouble here? Why did the cow not eat? Why is the cow lame? Why is the cow wounded? because she's lame on her back left foot. She's not putting full pressure on her foot, she's lifting up the back side of the hoof because she has an infection there. And after an infection, very quickly, you also have a pressure lameness. So infectious lameness and pressure lameness. And this happens all in the first week after calving on many, many cows in the world. And most people don't realize this, and they still don't know it. Today I'm doing 20 years cow signals, and I'm really quite surprised that it takes so long to reach the right people with the right information. You can see the signals, but now you have to think, okay, what is good, and how can we prevent disease? Because that's what cow signals is about, prevention of disease. You want to prevent all these disasters. It's an optimistic conference about climate change, yes, and I want to keep it optimistic, but this is not very optimistic what I show you here. 50% of the dairy cows suffer today in the world. And that's per year. If you look at one day, today, you see that in the Netherlands 30% is wounded and that 25% is lame. Lame means lame, crippled, she can't walk normally. And in 1 year, you see that 50% of the cows, they calve with subclinical milk fever. That's a lack of calcium, lack of feed intake around calving, lack of resting, lack of eating. 50% bloody soles, laminitis, is overpressuring, standing on concrete. And 30% mastitis. And the sad story is, this is the Netherlands. The rest of the world is worse. Most of the countries are worse than these figures. And I know because I travel all around the world. I work in 70 countries. And I'm shocked that, I mean, every country has very good farms and very average farms and very bad farms. But the average figures in a country are worse than this in most countries in the world. So what can we do? Let's look for solutions. We started 20 years ago with this cow signals concept. It's about look, think, and act. Do something. And it's all about seeing, hear, feel, and smell. And then look from large to little and from little to large. And look for you-knows, unexplained notable observations. Things that you see and you don't know what they mean. And waiting cows. Your waiting cow is your best management advisor. A standing cow is a waiting cow is trying to tell you something. And then you have to look for the cow signals diamond. And it's very simple. Cows need feed, they need water, they need light, they need air, they need to rest, and they need enough space to move around. And then they will be healthy. If they get all these 6 freedoms of the pasture also under the roof, then the cows will be healthy. So how can we keep more cows healthy? That's a big challenge, because there's no need to get sick cows. I'm a vet, I don't like sick cows. I like to keep them healthy. So we started this workshop 20 years ago, and the farmers were looking with a checklist, and then you come to a barn like this. And this is a very typical barn all over Europe, all over the world. It's 1, 2, 3 rows of beds, and a feeding table here. And now I'd like you to look at this picture and tell me what you see. If you were this farmer, what would you see? What are you looking at? You can tell your neighbor what you see. If you look carefully, you see too many lame cows. And if you look at the first cow here in the row, she's lame. The number 3 is lame, number 5, number 8. Here's another one, here's another one lame. So you see too many lame cows, and you see empty ruins. Cows didn't eat enough for the last 6 hours. What else do you see? Standing cows. Cows are not resting. And what a lot of people don't see is that there's a lack of feed here in the front of the barn. The first 8 feed spaces are not filled up with feed. So the cows cannot all eat at the same time. Already with 3 rows of beds and 1 feeding table, you have too little feed space. So we realize that this is not good enough. In this system, cows don't last long enough. They die soon. And the biggest thing you can do for the climate is let cows get older. Stay healthy and get old. It took us 200 years. 200 years to double the lifetime of mankind, of British statistics, from 40 to 80 years of age. It took us 200 years. I like to double the lifetime of the cow in the next 10 years, but I need your help. Because it's possible to double the lifetime of the cows. And we can do it in the next 10 years. And we have to, because the major issue is the climate, and the health of the cow, and animal welfare, and the income of the farmer. So I can show you how we can do that. But if you look carefully at this picture, what we need to do in this farm, we need to make soft deep beds, we need to have more feed space and fill it to the front, and we have to kick the wall out, and then suddenly the cows can rest 13, 14 hours instead of 9 or 7 hours. We measure on farms as little as 7 hours resting. On the top farms, cows are resting 14 hours. Every extra hour rest is 1 liter of milk and more longevity. So it really pays back to let cows rest. And this is a baby calf from Norway, especially have her in my presentation here. I got it from a Norwegian farmer. And this is did you see the signal on this calf? It's Andrea from a farm in the north of Norway. And if you look carefully, you see the question mark on her forehead. You see that? It's a beautiful girl. And this girl was asking me the question. She said, why don't we get what we need? We need a place to eat, a place to rest, and a place to calf without stress. And we need a friend. We can't stay alone in a cabin for 3 months. So this calf is asking critical questions. It's a Norwegian calf. So we learned from the farmers that actually taking care of cows is taking care of yourself. If you're good for the cow is good for you. And care is money. So my mom and dad were both right. More straw is more money. If you have healthier lambs, they grow better, and you earn more money. So it pays back to put more straw in it. I know straw is quite scarce in Norway. But you can also use a lot of soft materials. Question here. What is the most efficient lactation number of a dairy cow? This is interesting stuff that people don't know. You have to guess now, so I'd like you to take a number in your head between 1 and 11. We're talking about cows that produce 100,000 liters in the last 10, 11 years. And now, how is the graph going? These are 9,000 cows from the Netherlands, almost 9,000 cows that produce 100,000 liters. And this was 23,000 cows already reaching this level in the Netherlands from 17,000 farms with 100 cows. That's roughly the Netherlands. So now you have to guess. So let's do a show of hands. You can do a show of hands. Who thinks it's 10 lactations? Anybody? 9? Stick up your hand if your number comes by. 8. Some people say 8, 7, 6, 5. Quite a few people think 5. 4, 3. A lot of farmers always say, oh, 3. That's not right. The answer is actually amazing 6 and 7 lactation. So congratulations for the first one sticking up their hands. Actually, 7 is the highest. 6, 7, and 8 are almost equally high. So you see that cows are only fully grown after 4 or 5 lactations. The rumen is still expanding a little bit, but she's getting more and more efficient during her first 4 or 5 lactations. And only at 6 and 7 they reach the top. So why would we rumen cows at 2 lactations? The average lactation in Norway, how much is that? How many lactations do you produce? Average? Can anybody say me that number? 3? Yeah, Kari says 3. It works, the video works. So 2.5 is very common in the world. We measure 1.9 in Sweden, 1.9 in some statistics in California. So it's quite shocking. So 2.2 is very common around Europe and the rest of the world with housed cows. 2.2. In Holland is 3.4. But we see that the best 1% of the farms is on 5 lactations. This is 170 farms in the Netherlands today that are reaching 5 lactations. So it is possible. And if you do what they do, you get the same results. So it's just a matter of copying good behavior. You first have to know it, and then you have to see how to do it, and then you have to just do it. That's how I learned presenting, by just looking at other people making mistakes and doing things right. And that's how I started to make interactive presentations. To make people think first before you tell. 2 more lactations is giving you 30% methane reduction. So if you talk about climate change, we need cows, we need food, we need the manure for crops. So cows is a very essential part in life. All farmers know this. People in the city have no clue. So that's the big thing to constantly have to explain that cows are useful and that they are not the problem, but that they are actually a solution. But what can we do in cows? We can actually double the lifetime of cows. And I think we have to because it really pays back 30% methane. And how does that work? Well, actually it's the feed efficiency. An old healthy cow has a better feed efficiency. A feed efficiency means that a healthy older cow makes 1.5 liter milk from 1 kilo dry matter intake. And a lame cow or a sick cow makes only 1 kilo milk from 1 kilo feed intake. So 1 kilo dry matter, do you want to have 1 liter or do you want to have 1.5 liters? Well, simple answer. 1.5 liters is possible, so why don't you get it? The other thing is, you only need half the young stock. If you double the lifetime of cows, you only need half of the young stock for replacement. So what you actually can do is use sex semen and make Belgian blue or limousine or whatever meat race or local meat race red, and you make meat, and you make, with the 20% replacements, you also use sex semen for your own breed, and you produce heifers. So if you produce if you make older cows, you need only half the young stock. And the third thing to get 30% meat day reduction is young stock signals. You have to understand that young stock is actually needing only 23 months to get ready. If you do it right, after 23 months, young stock will be ready instead of 27 months. So the young stock rearing is also crucial. So yes, we can have 30% meat day reduction. So Kari asked me to compare systems, okay? So grazing, yes, good for 4 months a year, but some places in Holland for 8 months a year. But this is not the winning system. It is in New Zealand and in Chile, but the rest of the world cannot really rely on grazing only. In Ireland is not too bad, but hardly anybody can keep them year-round outside. So they have a compost house. More than 1,000 farms like this were made in Brazil the last 2 years. In Holland, we only have 20 because it's still not a big success. Only 25, I think we have. It's working, but it's very wet, and it works really well with crossbreeds. Like here, you have like 8,000 liter cows and crossbreeding, and they still need 22 square meters of bedding material in the beds where they are in the beds. 22 meters of compost. The straw yard only needs 10 square meters, and it's a Jersey herd with 5,000 liter cows and 7 square meters in a straw yard. I designed this barn as one of my favorite farms. Really, really good cow comfort. Feed, water, light, air, rest, and space are all perfectly managed, and there are no sick cows on this farm. Very, very rare that he has disease. Very successful farm and lovely cheese. This is the only cheese I eat and I feed my family. It's a Remaker in the Netherlands, a very famous farm. If you're ready to see this farm, come to the Netherlands. I can tour you around along these farms. There are no study groups coming here. So grazing, yes, nice option. Compost house, very nice option for the cow. And a straw yard, these are the best options for the cow. But then if you look at economy, we see that this farm is actually the most successful now in the Netherlands. The top 3 in the Netherlands, we designed with our cow signals in mind, and the Vetvaar's barn design team designed these barns. And we're very proud of it. We now reached the top 3 in the Netherlands. The top 3 best barns have sand beds and row balls. 2, 3, and 4 row balls. Amazing success story, and it's due to sand in the beds, because sand gives you very good resting and very good grip on the floor. And very good drainage, so it's clean and dry, and it's a really amazing success story. So that's the sand beds. And then we have a tie stall. A good tie stall is better than a bad free stall. And this is a big success story from Switzerland. Amazing. We did several hundred barns like this. And we just started it 10 years ago. Let's try it. Let's make a deep bed in a tie stall. It was a tremendous success. So, Norway, what are you waiting for? A mat is not good enough. A deep bed is the first thing to make for a cow. A deep bed, a place to eat, and stress-free calving line are major things to do. A little movie for you, have a look. Especially for the Norwegian farmers and advisors. I want to show you one of my success barns, and it's actually, they all have the same 3 things. First of all, a stress-free calving line, where the cows can be before calving and after calving, and they can eat together with the group. Here, these girls are fresh cows, and then we have the main group. So the second thing you need is that all the cows can eat at the same time. So 1 feeding place per cow. Number 3 is an excellent bed. And cows can calve outside where it's dry, but now it's really wet outside here. So they calve in the straw and they rest in a deep bed. And these are the 3 main things to get 2 more lactations. The other 3 things are enough light, and enough air in the barn, and a good water supply. And that's the cow signals diamond. So you see these cows, I'm stretching them a little bit now, you can see the loose beds here. This is a very loose bed. And this material is actually recycled fiber from horse manure. So it's like a green bedding, but then from horse manure. We have like 1,000 farms with green bedding from the cow manure, and we have 1,000 farms with straw bedding, and only 100 cows with this material. But it's really nice and fluffy, and cows love this bed. So you saw when I came in, a lot of cows resting. Can always be more, but we like to see all the cows resting. And if we have all these 6 feet of the pasture, if we bring them under a roof, because that's what we need for at least half a year in Northern Europe, then we have an excellent system. And that's what I want to show you here. These cows are going for 5 lactations. Keep watching. So this is my favorite barn. Here, another good one. This is the farm that Kari really liked. This is the Jersey farm. And cows in the field. In the winter, they are in a beautiful straw pack with a room with a view. Maximum space for cows. Maximum lookout. And here, over there you see the Rietveld or Karel Appel RP's. Hey honey. Beautiful Jersey herd. Coming back from those here in the Netherlands. Best cheese. Rainmaker, this water. Big cheese for the family. Thanks for watching. This was Jersey cow signals. Okay, so understanding what cows really need is the key factor. You need 2 more lactations to be successful, and then you save the planet, the cow, and the farmer. So how do you reach that? Well, first of all, I think I have a few more minutes left. Is that right?
Yes.
How many more minutes, Kari? Can you show me? Cows need to stand up without stress. And this is what is possible when they have maximum space. They need head space, and they need swing space for their heads to get up easily. 5 more minutes, thank you. They can see this cow here. And this is shit happens, right? Shit happens. One more time. This cow is trying to stand up. No head space. And his back going. So this is why we ruin cows and we only have them for 2 lactations. Because they cannot stand up easily and rest easy enough. Average of 9 hours rest instead of 14 hours is really killing the cow and is losing 5 liters of milk and 2 lactations. This is Switzerland. And if you want to have 2 more lactations, you have to give the cow 2 meter long baths. If you look at this bath, from the wood piece here till the concrete back part here, this is a 2 meter resting zone for a cow. A cow is 2 meters 50, 2 meters 70, a cow length. But if you look from the front knees while she's resting till the tail, then she needs only 2 meters. But most mattresses are 1 meter 80 or 170 or 160. Even tie stalls, 160, 170. The tie stall picture I showed you, 2 meters resting place, free resting place for the cow, and that is a major success factor. Just do it. And the stress-free calving line is essential. 2 weeks before calving till 2 weeks after calving. It's really essential to give the cow a quiet moment with maximum space and maximum feed space. And we designed a cuddle box, an amazing success story. The cuddle box, we see it on old tie stalls. People were taking the baby out and put the baby in front of the mother. So she comes out of the mother, and like this, there she goes, you see, she's coming. And then right in front of her head, she can lick the baby. And that's what we do in the cuddle box here. And then you see what happens. The cow is taking care of the baby. You should never forget this. This is the power of nature. So leave nature in its place for at least the first hour. Half an hour, 1 hour. And you're going to put feet on top of the baby cow. And now you see what happens. The cow is having her first meal. The baby will be getting her first meal very soon after you milk the cow while she's licking her baby. The cow is quiet. You can milk the cow. And the colostrum goes right into the baby cow. This should be happening on every farm in the world. But most of the farms have never seen this. They don't know it and they don't understand it. Yeah. So how do you get this thing organized, put the baby in a safe box, put feed on top of her, and milk the cow whilst she's licking the pig. This was the Turtle Box. We get an award or Eurotier for this. Well, that was a short cow signals. Now, a little psychology for the last few minutes. Farmers listen to farmers. And I know there's 15 farmers in a house here. You listen to farmers because you can trust farmers. They have to do the same job as you. They are your best coach because they have the same issues. And advisors are normally very single issue managers. So what we do is we train advisors to become a generalist in feeding, housing, management, and understanding the cow, really understanding what the cow needs, but also understanding economy and breeding. So that's what we do. We train farmers and we train advisors. And we train trainers. That's my major job. So I hope to have a few more trainers in the next training from this audience, or maybe you can send your vet or your feed advisor. We already trained a few people in Tiene, in Velferda, and the meat company. We have trained some trainers, but I think we need a lot more trainers to do these workshops in the barn. And then the next step is how do we reach enough farmers? Because we have so many lame cows. We cannot blame the farmer for it. Whose fault is it that we have lame and wounded cows? It's the farmers are under pressure. They can hardly earn a living. They work very hard. And I feel sorry for the farmer. And I feel sorry for the cow. And I feel sorry for the planet. So what are we going to do about it? So it's up to you. And a lot of people from the government here in the house and from the practice. So how can we change this? And what can be the solution? How can we get the practical knowledge to the farmers and that they can give the cow what they really need? You have to pay for it, all of us. So the consumer is co-responsible for animal welfare. We have 500 trainers now in the world. I try my best to educate the world. We have 500 people trained. I'd like to go to 5,000 in the next 10 years. I'm still young, 54 years of age. I think I have another 10 years to go. I will go another 10 years to educate more people. But we also have to educate the farmers. And 800 farmers in Sodial, France, are now producing welfare. It's an online training program from Cow Signals, included in the pasture milk. So this is an amazing step ahead. If you look at the package, it's lait responsable, responsible milk. The farmer gets 40 cents per liter instead of 36 cents or 34 cents or 6 cents per liter extra. And it's trained, the welfare is trained by Cow Signals. They have a video program where we train them in Cow Signals. And they have to do it, otherwise they don't get pasture premium. So this is the next step ahead, that we can educate farmers and they get paid for it. And the next step is happening in the Netherlands now, where we have 18 dairy processors. They invest in young stock signals because we have too many dead-born babies. 12.5% dead-born babies in the first month, including dead-born, but still, it's ridiculous. So the knowledge of young stock signals, cow signals, and stress-free stockmanship is essential stuff. I'd like you to help me to reach the right people. We need to train all the advisors. We need to train all the farmers because after 20 years, I only reached 1% of the market and they are already on 5 lactations. So you see that it really pays back. We're proving it. The best farms that we design are now reaching this level as well. We learn it from the best farmers in the world and the Netherlands. And I think there's a lot of work to do still in Norway. And I'd like to give you some inspiration and continuous education. We have a 10-year program in education. We developed it for the last 20 years, 10 subjects. And I like to motivate people to change. Thank you very much. This was Cow Signals and climate change. Let's go for 2 more lactations. Thank you.